one of the things that surfers or divers or anyone who goes into the water has to deal with that's kind of annoying. And that is putting on a wetsuit when it's freezing cold in the morning. If you've done it, you realize it is brutal. You're literally shaking before you even get in the water. So you're cold before you get in. Led me to think, all right, how can I help you guys kind of figure out the right way to dry a wetsuit? So I reached out to you guys on Instagram and YouTube, everything, and asked you if you had any favorite methods for drying your wetsuit. And then I had an idea. I'm going to reach out on the computer to AI and see what they tell me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by reading the AI, see what they said about having the wetsuit dry. And then I'll read what your guys' comments are, see if there's some kind of, work through that we can figure out on how to keep these wetsuits dry, but also do it the right way so you're not destroying your wetsuit. All right, so let's start off by reading the AI version of it. Firstly, after taking off your wetsuit, rinse it thoroughly with fresh water to remove any sand, salt, or debris. This will also help reduce odor and prevent discoloration. Yeah, wetsuits, if you have never worn one, can get quite smelly. So I'm agreeing with it so far. Gently squeeze and shake the wetsuit to remove any excess water. Seems like common sense. Moving on. Next, find a suitable location to dry your wetsuit. Ideally, you want a well-ventilated area out of direct sunlight, as direct sunlight can damage the neoprene material of your wetsuit. Very true. A good option is to hang it on a thick hanger with the shoulders supported to avoid stretching the neck area. It's amazing. This is AI. This is computer generated. And so far, it's nailing everything. To speed up the drying process, you can use a wetsuit drying hanger with a built-in fan. These will circulate air around your wetsuit and help it dry faster. Another useful tool is a wetsuit changing mat, which can double as a drying mat. Simply lay your wetsuit flat on the mat and let it air dry. That's something new. I've never seen it done. I've seen people laying their wetsuits down on those mats to keep it from, getting dirty on the ground or whatever before they loaded it back into their car. If you're in a hurry and need to dry your wetsuit quickly, you can use a towel to pat dry any remaining moisture before hanging it to dry. However, avoid using a hairdryer or any other source of heat, as this can cause damage to the neoprene material. I've never used a towel to pat dry a wetsuit, but that's what towels do. They pick up moisture, so that have to work. I have heard not to use a hairdryer because you can definitely damage the seams, etc. So if you're using a hairdryer, don't do it unless you've got a lot of money to waste on buying new wetsuits. Finally, make sure you store your wetsuit properly once it's completely dry. Fold it neatly and store it in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight. Wow. I gotta tell you, I think they nailed it. So let's read some of your responses and see how they compare. I'm going to start off reading some directly off of my Instagram post. The first one is from my buddy Terry. Rinse in cooler with water and some antiseptic mouthwash. I've never heard that. That's actually really good. Hang inside out, outdoors, at night. Wring it out and hang it in the garage. Okay, he's saying at night, keep it away from the sunlight, so that makes sense. Hang it in your garage, once again, keeps it out of the sunlight. For your booties, bucket wash with water and a little extra antiseptic mouthwash and soak and dry outside. I'm curious about this mouthwash idea. Have you guys done it? Have you guys tried that? I've never heard of that. All right, let's keep going. Here's actually a funny one. This one's from Dave Schaefer. Wad it up in the back of the car so it's wet and cold for the next paddle out. Yeah, that's one way to do it. If you wad that thing up and just keep it in the back of your car, it's going to be cold. It's going to be eye-opening when you put it on, but maybe, you kind of need that little push to wake you up in the morning. Saba Surf says to toss it up on a telephone wire, maybe like those tennis shoes, kind of claiming your area. Maybe it's your spot and you're like, boom, hang that wetsuit up. No one else can come here. Here's one from Gary Castro. Bucket rinse, elevated hanger in the shade, turn right side out in the evening to complete drying. Booties rinsed inside out and drying process is bright, warm sun, hopefully. Yeah, he's doing this inside out thing too. So we're seeing this common thread of turn your wetsuit inside out. Alrighty, here is one. So wintertime, I place it on my front seat and blast the heater so it's warm to put on. If you blast the heater on there, at least if it is still a little bit wet, it'll be warm wet and not cold wet. Okay, so here's one from Ron. Brad, I enjoy your surf videos. Thank you. Thank you for mentioning that. I rinse with fresh water, hang on a rubber shop hanger folded at the waist over a Rubbermaid box in the garage, squeezing the arms, neck, and legs. Turn right side out after 2 days. I rotate between 3 full suits, so I always have a suit ready. Are people aware drying a wetsuit in direct sunlight shortens the life of the suit? He's making a good point that when you hang it on a hanger at the waist, all the water will go down the sleeves or down the legs, and you can rinse them. He uses a Rubbermaid box so that it catches the water, so that you're not getting all this water on the floor wherever you're drying it. Here's one from Jamie. This is a new one. I wash on wash, rinse, spin cycle in the front loader washing machine inside out, then hang outside under covered pergola on a coat hanger. There's a lot of heat that may come from that. I don't know. I've never heard of that. If you guys are using that method, let me know, because that's an interesting one. And then somebody replied, World of Webby, my wife yells at me every time I do this. Sand ends up in the washer. Yeah, that could happen too. You may want to rinse that thing out before you put it in there. You could damage your washing machine. This comes from Surf and SoCal. I use 2 Dry Guy snowboard boot/glove dryers. One dries my booties completely while my wetsuit dries outside. Then reverse my wetsuit and use both Dry Guy in arms and legs to finish the drying process. Best solution ever. My wetsuit is always totally dry and my booties too. Once you dry completely, they don't even stink. Going back to the smell of a wetsuit. Will those Dry Guys damage the wetsuit would be my curiosity, but that would definitely work. It sounds almost like you're using a blow dryer because it's a similar idea, forced heat air. Okay, here's an old school one. This is one that we used to always do, and maybe you guys are still using this. He says, after I rinse it off, I put it on a hanger and then I put it on the shower head and let it dry in the shower. I don't know if anybody else, at least with your bathing suits and things like that, you hang them up in the shower so that they drip dry into the bathtub part of the shower. But what'll happen anytime you hang it without any other form of drying is you could still have a lot of water at the bottom, at the bottom of the legs, because it's hanging, all that water starts to add up. It doesn't necessarily all get out of the wetsuit. So if you do that method, you got to squeeze out all the excess water. So this one comes from Phil. I hang it with a broomstick through the sleeves so it hangs full length inside, outside from a hook in the middle of the broomstick. It dries in the sunlight. That's probably not a good thing. Then I turn it right side out and continue the drying process. Sometimes I put newspaper inside the bottom to soak up the water faster. Dry in 2 hours in good sunlight. That's something I never heard. Broomstick. I mean, it makes sense. You're opening up the wetsuit to dry. I think the direct sunlight is a bad idea as far as tearing down the wetsuit, but I like this idea. Maybe you do that in the shower and you scare the heck out of your significant other when they go in the bathroom. I think somebody's standing there. I'm going to end my Instagram comments with this one, Zach of Spades. He says, go so fast on the last wave in, stay standing, jump out of dry suit, and store. You'd have to go really, really fast on that wave. All right, let's turn it over to the YouTube comments. Let's see what you guys said here. It's a bit of a 3-stage. Over the side view mirror from the beach until the freeway, and then when I get home, rinse it off and then hang it over my ledge where it gets a lot of wind on it and dries it off pretty well. This is one thing you'll see a lot if you are driving around, whatever, and you see somebody with a wetsuit hanging off their side view mirror. They're drying it. This guy, he almost goes on the freeway with it. It sounds like he takes it off before the freeway, but yeah, that will dry it off. I mean, if you hang it over there and you feel secure about it not ending up, on the road being run over by everybody, it works. I hope this guy's being funny. This is coming from Marty. In the oven, make sure to use a timer. Overcooked one once. I wouldn't recommend putting a wetsuit in the oven. You might not get the results you're looking for. Hanger in the garage after a morning surf and then bring it into the laundry room overnight, since that's warmer than the garage and helps to dry it for the next morning. That's probably the most common one, is just to hang them. What we're seeing here is we're kind of getting some similarities. A lot of people hang them. A lot of people turn them inside out, which sounds like a really good idea. And obviously you want to rinse it. You want to rinse it to obviously keep the smell out, keep the mildew out, etc. Which leads me to believe that this AI that I pulled up when I asked it how to dry a wetsuit is remarkably accurate. It's following everything that we follow. It's giving good reasons why to do that, and it was computer generated. So I hope this helped you out on how to get that wetsuit dry for the next morning. So anyway, hey, thanks for watching. I'm Brad Jacobson, and I'll see you on the sand.